What's up, guys? Aaron Nagler here with CHTV, and I am talking to preeminent NFL scholar, the NFL lead writer for the Daily News. Charles McDonald is here. Charles, we're talking Bills, Texans. Obviously, this guy is going to take up a lot of the oxygen around this game. How much of an effect do you think J.J. Watt is going to have on a game when he hasn't played in X number of weeks?
I mean, it sounds like a lazy cop-out answer, but don't know. I don't think I can remember a guy coming off a torn pec like this fast.
In the season, right? You would think that's a year-long, he's out, we'll see him next year.
Right, because that's usually what happens, even for guys who tear it earlier than he tore it, because he only tore it in week 8. So we're talking about a 2 months since he tore his pec. And we've seen guys tear that in the offseason and miss the entire season. So I don't even know what to expect from him. I assume he'll be on a pretty small snap count.
Well, that's my other question. Like, do you think you expect him to be rotational?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be, because you can't just come out after you've been resting your chest for
X number of months, right?
And then just come out and shove some 310-pound offensive lineman like that. Doesn't seem like it will work like that, but that dude, if there's a guy who could come back off a torn pec and make this thing work and be an impact against the Bills, like it'd be J.J. Watt.
If you're the Bills, do you try and test it out early? Do you like run at him a little bit, try and like see what he's up to?
Yeah, maybe throw some traps his way, see if he's still flying up the field like with that same fervor that he usually plays with. But I think you got to test it out a little bit when he's in the game, because if he's not 100%, then that's a weak link that you can attack for the Bills. And I mean, if this Texas defense is already bad enough, and if they're throwing out like a hobbled J.J. Watt, like,
right.
or even if we go back, like maybe you don't even need to test J.J. Watt, because that Texas defense has been,
because there's so many other places that you're going to find success.
I mean, the secondary has been shaky. I mean, they got 2 pretty good linebackers in McKinney and Zach Cunningham, but man, like that defense is really falling off a cliff since he got hurt.
What do you think? Flipping it around, Bills are an offense. Josh Allen clearly is, I remember when he got drafted, it was very much like, oh my gosh, what a reach, etc. Clearly had an up and down rookie year. He's shown some stuff this year to make you think, okay, maybe there's something there. There's something to work with at least.
Yeah.
Do you think playoff lights, though, first playoff start, does he, how do you think he looks? Is the spotlight a little too bright for him? I
don't think the spotlight will be too big for him. I think he's getting lucky by going up against a pretty crappy defense. Like that should help. That should help. That should help him in his first playoff start. I mean, we saw him on Thanksgiving versus the Cowboys.
I was just going to say that Cowboys game.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about games in the national spotlight, like he at least has done that for us. Right. That game against the Patriots on Saturday 2 weeks ago wasn't his best game, but I think he's showed us that he can play in the spotlight. And like I said, the Texans defense is bad. Like I think when you look at John Brown and Cole Beasley and how they match up against the Texans secondary, like that's a matchup that can win the game by itself. So I think if Josh Allen can come up and just not turn the ball over, I think the Bills.
That's the recipe?
I think that's the recipe.
What about Deshaun Watson and, the Houston Texans? They're no slouch on offense, at least. I mean, I know you're talking about their defense, but can the Texans offense carry them to a victory?
Yeah, I think they can. I mean, Deshaun Watson, I don't know if his raw stats, if you look at them, I don't know if they fully show how well he played this year, especially in key spots. Because even if you go back and look at that game against the Chiefs earlier this year where he threw 2 picks, but when you watch him and you watch him in the second half, just how in control and in command he is of everything and how easy big moments are for him.
Right.
I think that, you got Watson, Hopkins. I think Fuller is going to be a game time decision. Like if he can play any.
Just give you something.
They give you something.
Right.
Like those 3 guys, when they're all on the field together, they can score with anyone. So it's hard to bet against Deshaun Watson too. Like even as hard as it might be to bet against the Bills defense and Sean McDermott and what they're able to do.
And they've been lights out. I mean you talk about they're legit. Yeah, that's the big question for me. And then the big question for you is who do you pick in this game? Who do you got? Rubber meets the road. Who's your selection?
I'm going to go with it hurts me because I'm a Deshaun fan. I'm going to go with the Bills.
Bills riding in there on the road.
Yeah,
winning. All right.
I think so, because I don't trust the Texans defense. And then I think highly of Sean McDermott than I do Bill O'Brien. And
no, that's fair.
It's just a situation where I think the Texans are going to have enough answers on defense to get this thing done in there. I mean, the Bills are going to have answers on defense to get this thing done, and then the Texans defense just falls short.
Well, there you go. You heard it from Charles McDonald, the lead NFL writer for the New York Daily News. Thanks a lot. for checking out the playoff breakdowns here at CHTV.